First was a suspicious vehicle, and then a burglary in progress. Our officer, Amy Caprio, responded. She saw a black Jeep at that location. She followed it into a court where it was stopped and turned around. She exited her car, ordered the driver out of that car. The driver opened the door. Then the door closed, and the car hit her, struck her, drove over her. At that particular point, she was seriously injured on the ground. Other units started responding. She was taken to Franklin Square Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. The medical examiner has ruled it a homicide, and death was by multiple trauma to the head and torso. The ensuing investigation, we developed a suspect in Devontae Harris, who was arrested almost immediately after this incident. Due to the description from witnesses at the scene, he was picked up on Belair Road. The subsequent investigation led us to the 3 additional suspects in the burglaries. We now have them in custody, and we are continuing our investigation into that part of this case. Mr. Harris has been charged with murder. The other 3 suspects have not been charged yet. That's still being investigated. Unfortunately, we've lost a police officer to a senseless act, and we're now dealing with proceeding forward with a funeral and services for Officer Caprio. And with that, I'll open up to any questions anybody has of me.
So there was no gunshot wound to the officer?
No, ma'am.
Was there any indication that any of the 4 who've been arrested were armed?
We have not recovered any firearms, but there was a firearm stolen in a burglary that occurred about 2 miles from the burglary on Lin Wen Place. And we are investigating both as having similar MOs and suspect that they may be related.
If the scenario here is that the murder suspect was in the vehicle when the fatal encounter occurred, the other 3 were in the house burglarizing, what happened to them? How did they get out, get away? What did they do?
We assumed, we're still investigating that part, we're assuming that they made their way somewhere to get some kind of public transportation and or phone someone to come get them. And hopefully we'll have that answered by the end of the day.
Where were the 3 found, the other suspects?
In Baltimore City, West Baltimore, in their homes, residence.
What can you tell us about the association among these? And I know that there may be additional people that you're looking at, as you said. What can you tell us? What was their MO? What were they doing in that area? You said that earlier that the department said earlier there may be other burglaries.
Yes. We've got 3 juveniles, or correction, 4 juveniles. They used forced entry to get into a home through a rock through a window. Went inside, stealing jewelry, cash, anything they get their hands on. And so with that kind of linkage, we believe that the 4 were acting together to commit these burglaries.
Were they on a spree that day and the hours leading up to this incident where the officer was killed? They had gone into other houses? Had they targeted other houses? How organized was this?
I don't know how organized it was. We know that they are responsible for at least 1 burglary at Lin Wen. We do believe and suspect that they may have caused the burglary at another North Wind Road about 2 miles away.
May we ask Secretary Abbott a question?
Yes, you may.
An assistant state's attorney today at the bail hearing revealed that this is an individual, Mr. Harris, who was arrested 4 times for car theft, adjudicated as sustained finding in 1 case, has kind of bounced around between community programs, detention programs. What can the agency say about how this individual was dealt with?
So first I'd like to say that our hearts go out to our brothers and sisters in Baltimore County law enforcement for their loss, and to the family of this officer. We are in shock about the incident and what happened, and we will work with Baltimore County Police Department and State's Attorney's Office to help resolve this case. As a result, with Mr. Harris, He was involved with the system. The facts that were related are correct. On April 17th, he was detained on a writ at the request of the department. And thereafter, on May 10th, there was a detention hearing that the department was not a party to, where the youth was released back to electronic monitoring. While he was on electronic monitoring between then and May 18th, his compliance was poor, and we again requested the court violate the youth, Mr. Harris, to bring him in for noncompliance. The hearing on May 18th resulted in a continuance and no order from the court.
Is there anything, will the agency review this case?
Absolutely. We've already been reviewing this case and working with our partners.
On May 14th, at the bail review, it indicated that his mother had reported that her son had not showed up for work or called workers to say, had she notified the court system as well? Were you aware on May 14th that his mother didn't know where he was?
We were in communication with his mother, trying to locate the youth, and she had communicated to us, and that was part of the reason why we escalated this to the court and asked them to violate.
So whose decision was it to release him back to communities, back to house arrest, essentially? Whose decision was that?
The court acted with the state's attorney and the public defender. We were not at that hearing. We were not part of that hearing. The department was not.
Can you describe the efforts you went through to try to find him after May 14th when you knew that he was missing?
Yes. Our staff contacted his mother on numerous occasions. We attempted to contact the youth through his cell phone, he went to his school and other places that we knew him to frequent to try and locate him. We made many attempts to try to contact this young man.
Chief, what's your take on all of this? The judge across the street actually decided to hold this 16-year-old Mr. Harris as an adult essentially now, described him as a one-man crime wave. You know the history now, and he's out running around stealing cars, burglarizing houses, and confronting your officer. What's your take on how this system works and your emotions?
Well, all you want to do is make sure that our police officers are safe and that Baltimore County residents are safe. Unfortunately, in this situation, we have a 16-year-old who has caused the death of one of our police officers. Did the system not work? It sounds like that it could have worked better in this particular case. This 16-year-old perhaps shouldn't have been out. But now we have a 16 we're treating as an adult because of the gravity of the offense that he has committed. And it's serious business. But we're seeing in Baltimore County an increase in the arrest of juveniles for serious crimes. And Secretary of Ed is aware of it. Our courts are aware of it. And a lot of people are talking about it. And we're talking about a lot of things across this nation today. And things are going to have to change. We're seeing the level of violence, and especially against the institution of law enforcement, we've never seen before. And I think that we all have to get together and have a much more concerted effort to perhaps identify these problems early on so we don't get juveniles into this situation so young in life.
Any doubt in your mind he should be treated as an adult?
No doubt in my mind. No, he did an act which impacts a family, a spouse, brothers and sisters in law enforcement, the institution. That young man has done an act which he should be treated as an adult.
Is there someone that can address the officer and what she was known as in the department? I believe she was Officer of the Month in December.
Yeah.
In a case that I think got some TV attention at any rate.
She is, Officer Caprio is the type of officer that you want to hire. She had a bachelor's degree from Towson. Smart, athletic, energetic, and with not quite 4 years on the job, was starting to show that she had all the potential to be an excellent officer and one of the leaders of this organization in the future. And when you hire someone like that and you see that potential, you say, we're in good hands. We're going to be okay. But when it's snuffed out like this, you have emotions which I think make you wonder what's really going on out there. But young Officer Caprio, to me, when I look at her performance, look at the things she was doing, and hear the comments from her co-workers, both at Essex and at the Parkville precinct, she was the kind of officer that was going to go up in this organization and lead at some time in the future. She would be a leader here.
Any word on when her body would be moved from the medical examiner's office? And have you talked to the family, made any progress on when
Yes.
or what will happen next in terms of a funeral?
Yes. We're having the viewing on Thursday at the Shimonik Funeral Home in Perry Hall. Service will be at the Mountain Christian Church on Friday in, I believe that's Fallston, Harford County, and then a service at the Delaney Valley Memorial Gardens following that on Friday.